in this video segment, I'm going to show you some of the supplies and accessories that come with your Babylock Solaris or your Brother Luminaire. Many of the feet and accessories in this machine will also come with the Brother and Babylock midlines, so you may not get a fancy accessory case depending on the machine that you have, but you will probably have many of these feet in your midlines to your high-end Brother or Babylocks. So on the Solaris and Luminaire, you're going to get a nice storage case, and you open it up. It has 3 removable trays on top, so you can access some of the supplies below. The tray on the right, this is where many of the feet that come with your machine are going to be placed. You also are going to get some bobbins that you're going to use with your machine, so be sure to look for those. I'm going to set this aside right here. In the middle tray, this is where that sensor pen can be stored if it's not attached to the holder on your machine like I showed you in the first video. You also have your embroidery foot, and you have a multi-positional screwdriver. So let me just show you how this works. This is going to be great to get out those screws at odd angles, because this tip right here will actually retract to right angle, and then it will totally retract to hide that blade. But you just push on this to rotate that, and that's great for, you know, loosening and tightening your screws. And you always want to make sure that if you are removing a screw and putting it back on, tighten with your screwdriver. Don't rely on your hands, because these machines operate at high speeds and you don't want something falling out and possibly damaging your machine. So I'm going to set this aside, and over here again you have another accessory tray in which to hold more feet that come with your machine. All right, so I'll set these aside for now. And in your accessory case, or it might be in separate bags, you're going to get some needles. You get the size 11 EBBR needles. EBBR, that's embroidery. So these are your extra embroidery needles. Size 11 is a standard size to use. People also use size 14 needles. So I'm going to set this aside. You are going to get your extra bobbins. And this is a cleaning brush. So the other day in the first video I showed you how to clean out your machine, so you will get that. You get a pair of scissors right here, and let's see what other goodies we have. In this box right here, you're going to get various types of screwdrivers, okay? You're also going to get an extra screw here, and I'll explain some of these things as we go on in further videos. But a lot of people don't realize what this is right here. And this is a shank adapter. So your machine is high shank. A lot of people don't know about if their machine is high shank or low shank. And basically it's the position of the screw and how the screw attaches the shank to the machine. And if your screw is higher, you're going to be able to fit 2 fingers under that screw that attaches the shank to the machine. And if it's lower, maybe you can only fit 1. But the Solaris Luminaire, that is a high shank machine, and you also get an awl. Not many people use their awl, but that's used to punch small holes in fabric. I'll set that aside. You are going to get a starter pack of needles. On your machine, you can use Schmetz needles, you can use organ needles. It's very, they're not picky machines. You know, you can use either brand. You do get an extra straight stitch plate. And how do you know it's straight stitch? Because it has a single hole rather than a long hole going across the plate. The original plate that comes installed in the machine, that's a 7mm wide opening. So sometimes people will talk about 7mm machines, 5mm machines, and 9mm. Your machine is a 7mm machine. This is the straight stitch plate. It has a single hole. This is a great plate to use if because it prevents 90% of the fabric getting sucked down under the needle plate, and it's really terrific for that. You can also use it for other applications, and we'll discuss that as we move through some of the videos. But great way to keep your machine from eating your fabric is to use that straight stitch plate. You do get thread nets, and some people have never used these, but if you're using a tricky type of thread like metallic, some threads tend to they just hang, and sometimes they can get caught under the spool. So by putting a thread net around the spool, you just open it up and you just put it, you know, just put your spool in there, and then just leave an opening for the thread to come out the top. And that just keeps your thread from hanging down the side. So great for tricky threads. You do get a little chalk brush. and I guess for marking, I never really used that. And you do get a double needle. People are always mystified by a double needle, and there's no reason to be mystified. And then you get an extra bobbin case. This is your purple dot bobbin case. This is used for embroidery, but if your standard bobbin case that is installed on your machine, you can use that for sewing. You can also use it for embroidery, provided you use the Brother or the Finishing Touch bobbin thread in your machine. That's a 60-weight bobbin thread, and that's what's recommended. But if you're using other brands of bobbin thread that may be different weights, and you find that your embroidery is not as good as you'd like it to be, you may want to switch to the purple dot bobbin case, because this is set to a different tension. A lot of people get a little nervous about changing the tension on their bobbin case, so I wouldn't change it on the standard case that is installed in your machine. If you want to try this first, and then from here, if you feel that you need to adjust the bobbin tension, there is a screw on the side of this bobbin case where you can either increase or decrease the tension. This is an embroidery cover for an embroidery cover plate for special applications. We'll discuss that as we get more into embroidery. You do get a straight stitch foot that you could use with your straight stitch plate. A lot of people feel this gives them better control over certain types of projects. And you also get a little centering pin. It looks like a thumbtack in a way. And this is what you're going to use if you use pre-wound bobbins. So some people don't like to wind their own bobbins with the bobbin thread that comes with the machine. And again, you want to use 60-weight bobbin thread if you buy your own and wind your own. But this is going to be if you use pre-wounds. We do recommend the Coates Type L pre-wounds. They seem to work very well, but there are other people that do use other type of pre-wound bobbins that they find that they're very happy with. You are going to get your spool caps in various sizes, so you always want to match the spool cap to the size of your spool of thread, and you get the 3 standard sizes, but one of the new ones that the companies have come out in recent years is the mini, the extra small spool cap. So if you are using embroidery thread, you're going to put this embroidery thread on your horizontal spool pin, and then put this inside your spool of thread and on your spool pin, and it will hold it very snugly on that spool pin. And this cap right here will be flush with the spool so that you don't risk that thread getting caught on maybe that small spool cap, which is larger than this side right here. So that's very handy, and it helps reduce the thread from getting caught and potentially giving you hoop pop or a broken needle. You're also going to get, let's see what's in our goodie box. You get an extra plate, and we'll discuss this in a bit. And a lot of people, they see these and they don't know what they're for. These are bobbin clips. So one just popped out at me. So right here, if I'm using a bobbin clip, let's see, these are just going to clip right onto the inside of your bobbin case. Let's see if I can get it right here. And let's see if I lift it up there. You can see it just, the side of it just clip right on, and you can actually attach your bobbin clips together, and that will hold your bobbins like you see here. I can just put it right into the bobbin retaining clip, and it will hold it just like that. And like I said, you can clip those together. Very handy for storing your bobbins. So I'm going to put these back right now and show you a couple other things that come with your machine. Put the bobbin retaining clips in there and put this in here. All right, so let me move this aside, and I want to talk about this right here. This is your buttonhole plate, and it will adjust to the size of your buttonholes. In class, I teach you how to do a buttonhole, and this right here in the front, let's see, I don't have nails, but what you do is you put your button in here, and then you close it on your button, and the automatic one-step buttonholer will make the perfect size button to what is placed in the back here. And I will show you how to do a buttonhole, because one-step buttonholes are really, really cool to do. And you also get, let's see what our goodies here. Some people do not know what this is right here. And this is going to be placed on the side of your machine, and you can use it for yarn couching. All right, so this just attaches on the left-hand side of the machine. And then it has a guide down here and a guide up here for your yarn to be neat and tidy so it doesn't get tangled. Again, this is something that I can show you later. I just want to explain what that is. You are also going to get a digital move it foot. Now this is your walking foot. Absolutely wonderful foot. When you put this on, it has its own shank. So you take off your shank that's on your machine, you put this one on, you tighten the screw, and then this is on, but you have to remember to plug this in the back of your machine on the left-hand side, because if you don't, it's not going to work very well. Trust me and ask me how I know. This digital move-it foot, this is your walking foot, and this also has a roller belt system. So this is wonderful because you have 100% contact with your fabric 100% of the time. You can raise and lower the belt. And I know some people ask me in class, well, why would you want to raise and lower the belt? Well, think of it this way. You would want to lower the belt so that when you are stitching and you have your foot on and you get different types of soles that work with this, the soles are going to attach just like that. There's little pins on the inside of the soles. Right here you can see those pins, and then there's little grooves on the foot, and I just align the pins with the grooves on the foot, and then I'm just going to press that up, and there we go. You also get an extra sole right here. This is your couching sole for your yarn, and there's a hole in there. So I'll show you how to use this in a different video. And then right here, your walking foot, again, when you have this attached, you have your roller belt in the down position, and then you're going to have 100% contact with your fabric. When you want to turn corners, what you can do is lift up that roller belt to allow you to do easy pivots, so that roller belt is not dragging on the fabric, and then you put it back down to continue. So great foot. You can actually control the speed of the belt, but that's in a future video. But this really gives you full control of keeping your fabrics together. And this is what would be your quote-unquote walking foot. This concludes this video on the parts and accessories for your Babylock Solaris, Brother Luminaire, or other high-end models, because, like I said, some of these parts are going to be the same in all those mid to high category of machines. Thanks everybody for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.